I'm very, very excited for this room. There's so much raw talent and ability, and I believe that this is just the beginning. I truly do believe that this is just the beginning. I believe that that people this weekend, not because of us, but just because of the spirit in this room, I believe that people have made decisions that this is not only what they want to do, but these are the people that they want to do it with, and I believe that's going to unlock something that is going to push your business forward in a way that you guys have never seen. I truly believe that. I hope that you receive that. I hope that you receive that for your business, for your team, that something has been unlocked that is going to accelerate, that's the word, acceleration like you guys have never seen. And you guys have seen acceleration. And but there's a lot of people in this room that something got switched for them. And so I'm excited for that. A couple things really quick that I say. I know you guys have taken a lot of notes. You've taken a lot of notes on what people have said this weekend. I really, really hope that that you go home and that you decompress. And I write notes on what people say, and then on my notes, I have little hearts by my notes that are like what I'm feeling. Because really that's, after going to so many conferences and years of just different environments and meetings and attitude sessions, like the things that people say are great, but it's the heart shifts or how you feel or what somebody said and how that made you feel, that's really important. And so I really encourage you guys, in all of the meetings that you're attending, all of the conferences and all the things, like you're taking notes, but write little hearts or stars or whatever you want to do, but like the little hearts, and those are the things that you're feeling. Like what did that create inside of you? What did that shift inside of you? And then going back, I hope that you take time. I hope that you take time to whatever it is for you, journal, or just, really figure out what it is that you took away from this weekend. Because if not, then it was just another weekend. It was a few $100s and a few days that was wasted. If you don't really figure out what it is that, Paul says, whether it's a kill shot or just what changed inside of you, this is impact weekend. Like, what was it that impacted you and what is going to change? What is going to shift? Make some time to do that. Make some time to think about like what you want. Like this whole weekend is about moving forward. Like what do you really want to adjust and what do you want to shift? And then make time to reach out to your coach and say like, I need to make some changes. These are some things that I want to adjust. I want to move forward in this area of my life. I want to have accountability in this area of my life. I want, things to look different. How do I do that? And reach out to your coach and get a game plan, because you can walk out of here and it could just be an entertaining weekend for you. And you can be like, I was entertained. That was wonderful. That was lovely. Or it can be something that really, really accelerates you to where you want to be in life. And we're just so grateful. This weekend has been remarkable for us. It really has. And I love the weekends. I want to tell you, I just want to brag on you. There's times we've done a lot of speaking. We've gone to a lot of different conferences. And there's times where it just feels like we are just trying to give people something, where it just almost feels like it is painful to try to speak. Like take what we have. We have something to give you. And it's almost like it's, there's resistance. And in this environment, it is like things get pulled out of us. Like we come up into the, I don't have notes. Like Helen was talking about, like Paul's always like, what are you going to say? And I'm like, we'll see. Because it just gets pulled out of you. Like you step on this stage and it is just like whatever, you guys are so hungry, you're so ready, you're so, you desire so much that it's just pulled out of me. Like I don't even know what God is going to have for you guys, but it's going to get pulled out of me. And it's so easy to speak to an environment like this. And so I want you guys to stay hungry, stay ready, stay that fertile soil where anything can be planted, and because it is so much easier. It's so much easier to be able to speak to an environment like this that's electrifying, that people actually want. They want more. They desire what we have to share, and so and I'm just excited for you guys to move forward. I'm excited for the next time that we get invited back. At least me, surely I could come back, right? Just me. Oh gosh, you're so crazy. Even on Sunday morning, he started to say something super crazy. Man, geez, it's like Sunday morning, act right. Paul's like, it's not about morals or, how you act. I'm like, but you can still act right. You know what I mean? Like, it's not all about morals, but you could still be moral. You know what I mean? Like, no. So anyways, Paul has, so many things that he would like to share with you, but I just really want you to make this weekend worth it. We had people that came from United States to come and share with you guys because we believe that whatever your goal is can come true. We truly believe that. We got on a plane, multiple planes, 14 hours was the longest stretch to come and tell you that whatever your dreams are, that you can achieve those dreams, that we believe in you, and that we've given you everything we've got. I don't think we have, well, Paul has more. Paul will be here all night, you guys. He's here all weekend, what? He's ready for whatever, but we're just very thankful, and we're excited to see, like I said, when we come back to hear the people, the new platinums, the people that this is your first conference or your second conference, or maybe you've been in for a couple years and you don't have anybody on your team yet with you here, and that was a conference that you made the decision to go platinum, or new rubies next time that we're here. Love you guys so much. Thank you. Yeah. So let you share.
Look, did you notice we match? Like, you're the girl pink, I'm the boy. And so, can we do this? Can we bring the house lights up real quick? I meant to do this the other night. I want to get a video of all of you. Morgan talked about like what's, I referred to it the first night. It was yesterday, okay? Last night or yesterday day, about having your kill shot. This was one of Paul's secrets as he was coming up through the business. And it was exactly what you said. Through the course of a weekend like this, who was like feverishly writing down notes here this weekend, filling up pages of notes, all right? That was me. But I'd always, when there was not just a good line or good information, all right, you see Dom up here with DK and Robin, and like just so many like incredible like zingers, like great like bullet points, right? Those great lines, and that's fantastic. But I'd always take the time to like make a little asterisk, like you said, about when I felt something. And what I would do, those little plastic Easter eggs? I would go back through my notes, because I think a key to success is reflection. And it was mentioned here this weekend, but really reflecting and letting things go deeper. And I would just repeat what Morgan said, But here's what I did. I would take those moments of conviction that I felt something, and I'd write them down on a little piece of paper, and almost like a little fortune cookie, like a little strip of paper. And I'd put those little strips of paper, Max, in a little Easter egg. And this was young Paul, 19-year-old, 20-year-old Paul, like little Maxie right here, all right? And I'd carry that Easter egg around. And when things got challenging, when the doubt maybe would start to creep in, we'll talk about that here as you kind of wrap up, but I'd take that Easter egg out and I'd pop it open, PJ, and I'd go back and I'd read those little strips of paper. And it would take me back, and that was the whole remember more that you talked about, Robin, here this weekend. And so this has been an incredible experience for us. It was an amazing time when we were together here 5.5 years ago, but it's like the organization is more mature, Morgan is more mature, I'm about the same, but I say maturity isn't just an age, it's an experience and responsibility. And I do want to take this back with us, though. So house lights are up. Can I get a video of all? Hop in here, Morgan, get in here. So I want you guys all stand up, all right? I know you've been sitting. Shake it out, guys, if you need to get a little bit of a wide base so you can shake it out, all right? Whew. All right, here we go. All right. From Gold Coast in Australia, the beautiful land of Queensland, Australia. We're here with Team Mac We love you guys. We wanted to capture this. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I get to take that back, and I'm going to put that in my Easter egg with me. All right. This was great stuff up here with you guys. You know, I like to listen to other people. I like to steal stuff, and I steal my talks. I got the talk here from Fabian, you know, chains or change. It's a talk I'm going to take back, all right? I have macho and muscle, midget and mindset. How's that? That's the talk. I'm going to steal that, all right? You know, when Dom, when you were talking up here, and Dom has that, it's like he switches to an interview voice. You guys notice that? It's like he softens up. And it's like, I want you to put me to sleep at night. I'm gonna call you. It'll be afternoon for you, but I'm gonna call you. I just want to put my phone on speaker and I say, just do Dom interview, like whisper sweet nothings into my ear as I fall asleep. And I can picture you with that tape on your mouth, you know, and your nose and the ear. I just want to peel that tape off your mouth, you know, and just whisper those sweet. But Dom was up here, and did you catch it? Dom said, he said, awesome, you know, awesome. I actually was having a conversation with a guy at the gym, and got into this conversation, had a good connection with him, and I asked him what his name was, because I wanted to, you know, be able to get his name and reach back out to him and continue the conversation. I asked him what his name was, and he said it was Jathan. And so I'm like, all right, so I'm putting it in my phone, and I'm like, I wasn't exactly, is it Jathan? I'm not sure, so I said, is this how you spell it? And he looked and he's like, are you Theriath? And I realized it was probably Jason. Are you Theriath? And man, I apologize. See, Morgan usually does this when we have a chance to speak. She says, I just want to apologize in advance for him, all right? Because I am, you know, Helen, you said I was that student for you. I was that IBO for Brent. But one of the things that Brent Harris said to me, he said, listen, Paul was always willing to just fail faster. Coming out of here, you got to have those kill shots like we talked about, but you got to have those what I call attackable takeaways. Like, what are you got to get yourself into attack mode. You come to an event like this, it doesn't take being around this team very long to get yourself to the point where, like, it's not a question of if the Amway business works. There's been plenty of evidence of that, Rozzy. Like, the Amway business works. Can we all agree that the Amway business works? Okay. That's never the question, though. For your journey of success, that's not the question you got to answer if the Amway business works. The question that you have to answer, and not just with your head, but with your heart, is what? Is it going to work for me? Let's be honest, raise your hand if at any point you have felt, can I really do this? Me too. I had the questions. I had the doubt. You know, I had the uncertainty. I questioned, you know, was I unqualified? I felt I was unqualified. I was uncertain, you know. I was unsure. That was all the weight of doubt. Can I get that? Let me get that little scale up here, will you? A little visual here with you guys, just to kind of wrap up. Sometimes it's a visual that kind of helps maybe seal some things in. You know, who knows, like one of these scales, that this one actually doesn't tip to one side or the other, so it's not going to quite exactly work like the visual I was going to show. But raise your hand if you have an imagination. Okay, there we go. All right. So it is and honestly, you know, Cheval. I don't know, where are you at, girl? Jake and Cheval, it was absolutely a blessing and an honor and a privilege to get to know you guys. And when you guys were up here and you're talking about feeding the white wolf or the dark wolf, you know, really what that is it's doubt or belief. And that's going to be the struggle. That's going to be the tug of war that you're going to have to be able to conquer that battle. And I'm a big adrenaline junkie. Maybe some of you guys, that doesn't surprise you. All right. This is a trip I took my guys on called Band of Brothers. But I've been going on this Band of Brothers trip for years and years, and I love going whitewater rafting. And there's the highest graded commercial waterfall in the world for whitewater rafting is over in Rotorua. And I'm excited to do this, and there's actually a real cool video where it literally just dumps, and I'm taking Tiny down this waterfall here. But when I was whitewater rafting one time, I remember we were going to the Royal Gorge, and my friend, where's Tyler at? It's out in Colorado. My fellow American. Tyler's from Denver area, and I remember going whitewater rafting the Royal Gorge, and they're talking about like, listen, this is aggressive Class 5 whitewater, and we have safety kayakers out there. You know, there are a couple safety zones. One is if you fall out, there's a couple safety zones, Kevin. One, get your arse back into the raft. Safety zone 2, that shore. Safety zone 3, that shore. All right? He said, we have people out there if you go out. But I'll never forget this statement, okay? This is what the guy had said. This is extreme Class 5 whitewater. If you fall out of the raft, you are responsible for your own self-rescue. He said, you are responsible for your own self-rescue. I tell that story because as I was coming up in the business, the whole battle, dark wolf, light wolf, it's this battle, this tug of war between, you call it faith and fear, you call it doubt and belief. And whichever one you feed more, if this scale, if it actually kind of tipped, if you think about that scale, whatever one is heavier, all right? Because we all want to get results, and I'm not here to teach on but the reality is to get results, there has to be activity that takes place, right? And activity with a skill set produces results. But what drives activity? You coming out of here, why do so many people, take so much action coming out of a weekend like this? Because their belief gets raised, right? Their belief gets raised. But here's the thing. By itself, you ever take it, blow up a balloon, right? Tie it off, put a little strip of Scotch tape on it, okay? And then take a pin and put a little pinhole. If you put a pinhole without the Scotch tape, it pops the balloon. But if you put it through the Scotch tape, it just puts a little pinhole in that balloon. And what happens over time? Most people, it's this tug of war. They get excited, they get their belief raised, but then unfortunately, the less action you take, when you know you're supposed to do something, but you don't take it, you allow the fear of failure. Again, Brent Harris, here's what he say. Paul was just willing to fail faster and fail more often than anyone else. You understand that failure is actually your friend? Failure is it is your guide on your journey of success. And so coming out of here, don't be afraid. Now, the work ethic, the try, fail, it is your responsibility to get better. It is your responsibility to think, to reflect, to be in a coaching relationship so that you can actually improve and actually develop a skill set, that skill set is what will produce results. It's action with skill set produces results. But it all comes back to your belief system. So the reason I talk so often about this notion of do the thing and you shall have the power, because this here isn't the question of if the Amway business works. This here is the question, will it work for you? And for so many people, we're gonna try this here. Now, if this was a scale, so what would happen to this side? It would go down. It's heavier, right? So what you have to do, that weight of doubt, you have to begin to offset that. The reason, the more that you do, especially when like you don't want to, or you're afraid to do it, or you're not sure if it's gonna, the results of it. But what you're doing, here's the thing, you are responsible for your own self-rescue. Here's what I want you to, I want to leave this with you here this weekend. You are responsible for your own self-belief. It is your responsibility, and it's not anyone else's responsibility. You can be in part of an incredible atmosphere, what Helen was talking about when she sat there in the United Center and back in 1993 in the Chicago Bulls, and that environment, that atmosphere was electric, and you could feel it, and it got in your bones, right? And your eardrums, all right? That atmosphere was amazing, right? You sitting here, and that's great. But I would say character is that thing that keeps you going forth with good resolution long after the time in which you made those resolutions has passed. When you're not in this atmosphere, what are you doing when no one's looking? Training in the dark. It's the adage like champions aren't made in the ring, they're just recognized in the ring. Does that make sense? But the little things that you're doing, I always talk about win the day. You got to win the day. And to have a winning day, you need to know what a win looks like. Right? So here's my encouragement to you. Before you go to bed tonight, Brent would always say, if you're waiting till tomorrow to set your goal for today, you're already a day behind. If you're waiting till tomorrow to set your goals for today, you're already a day behind. My goal every day before I went to bed, PJ, is I would reflect on the day. I would ask myself, what did I do well? What didn't I do? What did I learn from today? What opportunities did I capitalize on? What opportunities, Max, did I miss out on? I didn't beat the crap out of I didn't beat myself up, but there were days that I knew what that day, a win for that day looked like, and I would reflect and determine, did I win that day or did I lose that day? And my goal was I just had to start stacking these wins. So it was the reflection. This is really how a skill set is developed too. As you're reflecting and you're thinking and you're making adjustments and you have a coach that you're able to start working with. But at the end of the day, like you need to win the day, own your week, and then progress your month. And that was my mentality. Win the day, own the week, and progress the month. If you look back to that, the NBA Finals in 1993 when the Bulls three-peated, that was a 7-game series. How many days are there in a week? Every single week, you got a 7-game series. You're not going to win every one of those days. I'm not naive. I have losing days still. But when you get to the point where you have more winning days than losing days, what happens is you start to add a little bit more water, a little bit more weight. That'd be really cool if this tilted, but it's not going to tilt, okay? But you start weighing, and the belief starts to get heavier than the doubt. Everyone, as amazing as Dom is up here, Dom had doubt and still does at times. You don't have to be Superman, Superwoman in this business. You're going to have times of doubt. I will say currency has a shelf life. Just because you have a pin or a level in business, I'll be honest with you, that young man, Dom, that was talked about, I told this story here on, I think on Wednesday night, Dom, when I came to my first conference as a 19-year-old man, I walked into this arena and I see all these people and I'm like, a dream was sparked inside of me. For some of you guys, you had a dream that was sparked inside of you here this weekend. That night, anyone ever heard of Bill Britt? Bill Britt walked out on stage. Here's what's funny. I walk into that huge Coliseum, and I get there, and these 2 big screens on both sides of the stage, and it was a countdown timer, and there was like 5, 6, 7 minutes when I walked into that Coliseum. And I walked down, I was up the top, walked down, got all the way to the floor, and I just started walking forward. And I got to the point where there's like these stanchions, and there's all these round tables, and I looked up, and it was about a minute left on the clock, and I'm like, all the diamonds were at these tables. I just walked past all of them. And I'm not joking. I stood right there. And when the clocks hit 0 and this man by the name of Bill Britt walked out on stage, and I was literally standing right there, and he was saying, and he's like, security, what is this? Get this, what's going on? Who's this kid? That was my first, that's a true story. All right. That weekend, that same night, literally minutes, Kevin, minutes from when Bill Britt walked out on stage and 19-year-old young Paul Kopecky, who at that point was a 300 PV business, literally minutes from that point, about 500 miles away down in St. Louis, Missouri, there was a mom giving birth to her first son. There was a dad holding his first son for the first time. And that young baby that was not born a month and a half prior when I got my business started was this young kid named Dominic Rainiolo. I will tell you this, the long game always wins out. The long game always wins out. Dominic started his business 4 years ago this month. Wasn't born when I got my business started. Was born the night of my first conference. 4 years ago this month, he gets his business started as a 19-year-old young man. His first year in business, he had the same battles of fear versus faith, I'll call it this, of doubt versus belief. But what he did is he chose to continue to put more weight on the belief side. You know how you do that? Yes, you get around these environments, absolutely. It raises belief. But that belief is like that balloon with the pinhole in it if you don't go out and start applying and taking action and doing the things that scare you. Do the thing and you shall have the power. The power is not just a belief in the business, it's that belief in yourself. Dom's first year in business, he started 99 processes. His upline, a couple who's in Founders Emerald qualification right now, I think I'd mentioned them. I have talked so much here this week, and I'm not sure who I mentioned or when I mentioned it, but a couple, Lucas and Madison Jordan, they're Founders Emeralds. They had 17 legs and 300 people at our winter conference here this last weekend. All right, Lucas and Madison, after 2.5 years in business, had one person on their team. The reason that Lucas he just wasn't going to quit this business. Everyone's story is going to be different. Lucas grew up. His father went to prison for murder. He was serving 2 life sentences when Lucas was a little boy, like Bishop's age. Okay, 2 life sentences. Actually broke out of prison. Was on the FBI's most wanted list. Got captured again and actually died a few years later in prison. Lucas never had a father figure. Grew up with a mom and 3 kids, like trailer park, like very, very rough upbringing. Lucas put a lot of his time and energy into sports, all right, and was a football player. And when he got his business started as a college student, he was scared to death of this business. So much doubt, so much fear, so much weightier. Lucas tells this story. He used to go out, for one entire year, he went out into the marketplace, Beth, every day, 365 days for an entire year, and never talked to one person because he was so scared. But he couldn't let go of the rope. We talked about tying a knot. He wasn't willing to let go of the rope because he's the men that had come into his life. For the first time, he had men of character and people that he could look up to. And even though he was 2.5 years into his business, he had one person on his team. 2.5 years into my business, I was a Ruby. I'd already broken my first leg. I had 100+ people on my team in that same 2.5 year period of time. Fast forward 5 years later, though, Lucas and Madison has 17 legs and 300 people at this last conference. And one of the individuals on their team, this young man named Dom gets in business, and here's what Lucas says. Non-negotiable, established precepts. One of the things that Coach Redwine, Stanley Redwine, I talked about Coach Redwine, he talked about this. He said, you have to set presets in your mind. You can't wait till you get to the point of pain or discomfort to make a decision, because our natural tendencies is to avoid pain. He said, you have to establish and set your mind ahead of time and make the decision before that point of pain comes. And Lucas said, here's what it takes to build a business. And if you want to really make a run and put this first project of income together, start platinum qualification, 2 meet and greets every single week, non-negotiable. He didn't quite hit it, but he started 99 meet and greet ones his first year. Lucas did about his first 20 for him, and then he said, all right. He did some modeling, he kicked them out. Leaders don't rest in their upline's nest, kicked him out of the nest and said, go start doing some meetings. Do you think he fumbled around and failed? Do you think he made mistakes? Do you think he was as good as Lucas was maybe when he started doing it? Nope, but guess what he was doing? Guess what he was doing as he went out there and overcame his fears? As he went out there, what was he doing? He was adding more weight to the belief side. After a year, he sponsored 15 legs his first year in business. And after 1 year, okay, he was only about a 1,500 point business. but it was the skill set that he was developing. It was the resiliency that he was developing. It was the attitude that he was developing. It was the mentality and the mindset that he was developing and working on and growing. It was the roots that were taking place and growing underneath the surface. Fast forward to his second year, 91 meet and greet ones, 91 processes started, added another 10 or 12 legs after 2 years. And this was 2 years ago. February of 2023, wrapped up his second year in business. And the next month, March of 2023, 2 years ago, Dom went over. Took him 25 months to go over. He did 99 his first year and 91 the next year. A lot of skill set, but he was adding, he was pouring water. He was the weight, his belief was getting heavier than his doubt. Dom started platinum qualification in March of 2023, 2 years ago. This kid wasn't born when I got my business started. 5 months later, the month before he qualified as a platinum, 6 months of platinum qualification, his 5th month of platinum qualification hit 15,000 points, went ruby. His first month with Bronze Builder made $7,100. Listen, here, the battle, he went to work, but he's developed that, he developed the skill set. He kept pouring water. He kept weighing the scale. He tipping the scale to his favor. Remember, you are responsible for your own self-belief. That is your responsibility. And so, listen, coming out of here, guys, you gotta be specific with what your goals are. So many people, they set big goals and they're too far out there. You probably heard the acronym SMART goals. I'll wrap up with this. And Dom, you can get up, so I'll wrap up, okay? SMART, specific. What are your specific goals? Get into agreement with the coach. Don't make it something way down the road. Make specific to where you are. M, measurable, things that you can measure on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis, all right? They're measurable. A, some people say attainable, I say attackable. The Amway business grows when you're in attack mode. Get yourself, if a goal is too far away, it's hard to attack, so get to a point where you're attacking it. R, relative to you, and T, there's a time frame. M, what, legacy's coming up in how many months? 4 months? 4 months. Have some specific, measurable, attackable, relative to you and where you're at in business, and timely. And here every day, I'm gonna win the day. I'm gonna put more weight on the belief side than the doubt side. And if you do that, what you'll start to separate yourself little by little by little by little. Step by step by step by step. Inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard, right? Little by little by little by little. And I will wrap up, I'll just say this, okay? There's this, I heard this, there's a great, a formula, okay? I call it the motivation formula. Here's how it works. Needs times faith equals motivation. There are so many amazing teams in here. There's so many great, deep relationships in here. There's so many heartstrings in here, all right? And more that were formed up this weekend, and more will continue to form up and deepen as we move forward. The number one thing that creates motivation in this business is when a peer moves on. Not when the leaders move on, but when a peer, when someone that you look at as a peer, it's like DK and I coming up in the business, we are peers. When you have a peer, it's someone that you look laterally to, not up to, if that makes sense. When you see a peer move on, and there's relationships there's heartstrings, it's like it creates a need, like I don't want to get left behind. I need to move on too. There's that need that's created. The faith or the belief is because it's a peer, it's lateral, you look across. If you believe, if they can do it, I can do it. Does that make sense? So needs times faith, the number one things that creates motivation in this business, what I found, is when peers move on. And what happens, you can either be the catalyst, and what we're looking for, those sleeping giants I spoke of yesterday, that sleeping giants rise up. That catalysts identify themselves coming out of Impact 2025. Because you can be a catalyst or you can be a reactant. You can be the catalyst, and I believe there's special favor for those who choose to go first, or you can wait for someone else to go. But what happens is when someone starts rising up in that catalyst, that needs times faith, it creates a popcorn effect. And if you've ever seen popcorn in a little kettle, right? It starts heating up. And it's like one kernel, pop, 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 pop. That's what we expect coming out of this weekend. So feed your belief, fill the belief cup. And what it does, I'll outweigh that doubt and win your day. Win the day, own the week, and progress month over month. Be the catalyst for Team Mac. And we can't wait to see who starts to separate themselves. And is that first kernel, those first kernels of popcorn that really cause this thing to just blow up, and the acceleration that Morgan had talked about to actually take place. So we love you guys. Thank you, Helen. You're a beautiful, beautiful woman, beautiful soul. Team Mac, God bless you.
For the calendar year 2024, the average income from Amway for all U.S. registered IBOs at the Founders Platinum level and below was $723 before expenses. See www.amway.com/income-disclosure for details and the most up-to-date information. Earnings depend on many factors, including customer base, business experience, effort, dedication, and quality and performance of the downline sales team. While the techniques and approaches suggested have worked for others, no one can guarantee that these techniques and approaches will work for you. In addition, we want to emphasize that success in this business does not come without hard work. This is a copyrighted program of Markerman Productions, affiliated with MarkerNet Incorporated. Duplication of this program is strictly prohibited. For existing IBOs only, not for use with prospects.